I usually have my partner with me shooting content, and if I want like a solo photo of me, she'll be the one taking it of me. But this trip in London, I started off just a mess and a wreck. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to take this video of me walking down the street, but I need maps pulled up so I don't get lost. I'm Trizzy.
And I'm Leah.
And this is Ticket to Anywhere podcast, bringing you the gear, tools, and tips to equip you for a travel-filled life.
No matter your travel experience or lack thereof, we aim to be your first stop when you're thinking of where to go, how to get there, what to bring, and what to do.
Catch the latest episode every other Wednesday on YouTube or your favorite listening app.
We'd love to connect with you. Find Ticket to Anywhere on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Pinterest, and LinkedIn.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Ticket to Anywhere podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Trizzy.
And I'm Leah, LA in Flight. Apparently, her favorite solo travel expert.
That is indeed true. This episode, we talked about how to take your first solo trip, and this comes right after me taking my first solo trip.
Yay! So proud.
Yes. And so we gave a lot of tips about, mentally preparing, physically preparing with like the gear and whatever you need to pack, and tips on shooting content by yourself.
Yeah. This was a big concern of hers. We had to quell the fears. Because it's a big deal.
Yeah, because I'm like, who's going to take photos of me?
Who's going to take my content? Who's going to take my content?
Along with that, safety as well.
Yes.
And how to meet people.
100%.
Yeah.
So, and it's also different, like, you took your first solo trip in a different decade that I took my first solo trip, right?
Yeah.
Because your mind grows
Yeah.
with more experiences you had, right?
Exactly.
So, at the beginning of this episode, we talk about defining a solo trip as well. I took my first solo trip years and years and years ago.
That's why she's OG for me.
Oh, yeah, we've known each other a long time. If you've been following us for a long time, we've known each other almost 2 decades. It's wild. I know, we got that much time under our belts. But, I went to many, many places alone. And that is where my credentials come from. I spent a year backpacking all of South America that fully changed my life, That's
great.
It was a big catalyst. And, I can speak from it from all different continents as well, and all different like stages of life too.
Yeah.
While I was working corporate, after corporate, now that I'm freelance, now that I'm a content creator, like from so many different stages too.
Shit, damn. So we should have went through the list what you're not then.
So we really hope that you find this helpful and that you can tell us that you've booked a solo trip because we were able to help you out.
I know, hopefully. Yeah, throughout these trips, you sip on coffee, so that's
All the
one
time.
thing you never let go.
All the time.
What you got for the episode?
Actually, I got this. It's Hawaiian Kona coffee in a can, but I got it from Seafood City. The Filipino store, one just opened up near me, but I did go to Hawaii for a solo trip a few weeks ago. I met friends the second half. I thought this Hawaiian Kona coffee in a can really convenient. Yeah. I just needed some good in a can right now.
I love that.
And your tea keeps
My
you
tea.
company.
I'm drinking on the beautiful tea that you brought back from Bali for me, the herbal Rosella tea. Oh my gosh, it's
I'm
like
glad you
rose
love it.
petal. I don't know. It's not rose petal, but it's some sort of flower that's dried up and it's big. I thought when I opened up the bag, I was hoping that it's going to be little tea leaves, but no. It's like, and it's really good too. It's tart, tangy, a good balance of both. And it's like it's a new flavor for me. So I really enjoy it.
Oh, okay.
So,
well,
cheers.
Cheers. Here's to the many solo trips that you're going to take.
Safety Wing is the world's first international travel medical insurance. You can sign up even if your trip is already happening, or sign up in advance by selecting a future start date. For only $42 per 4 weeks, you can be covered under Safety Wing and its Nomad insurance. Click the link in our description for more info and to sign up. Safe travels!
What do you consider a solo trip?
you're flying there on your own, and you're touring a country or a city.
Okay.
On your own. You're meeting new people.
Okay.
And you're either eating alone or eating with the new people that you met. Or something like that. Yeah.
I like to hear this because my first... I'm curious if people consider like my first big trip outside of North America, if it was solo enough. And I hate that in this day and age...
There's a debate about it?
Yeah. Right? Like, oh, that's not a solo trip. You went with 25 other people.
Right.
So, for example, my first solo trip was 3 weeks in Greece after we graduated from Long Beach State.
Okay.
3 weeks in Greece. I didn't know a soul, but I went with 25 other people on a group trip with EF College Break. It's now called EF Ultimate Break.
Okay.
But I didn't know anybody. So would you still consider it solo?
I would say that's solo because you went in there solo. You didn't know anybody, and you basically had to survive as a solo.
Yeah.
And although you came back with friends and stuff like that, that's still solo to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Some people have, different definitions. Yeah.
No. I mean, solo trips doesn't have to be like you have to be solo every single moment.
Alone all the time. Don't make eye contact with anybody. Be alone.
Be alone. Nah.
So everyone has different definitions.
Yeah.
But today we're going to talk about how to take your first solo trip. And we're hoping that you can cater it to whatever you need. Whether you're going alone into a group of 26 people from all over the world that you don't know. Or if you're literally going somewhere to recharge and get away from the daily grind and somewhere new.
Exactly.
Because you want to relax and kind of reset on your own.
Yeah.
There's many, many different ways you can take a solo trip. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
For
exactly. And this is we're recording this right after my first solo trip to the UK. I stopped in London and Scotland. So
cool.
I'm glad.
Very proud of you.
Yeah, so a lot of my experiences is fresh right now.
Super, super fresh. And if you've been following along, I am a very, very frequent, most of the time I'm actually a solo traveler.
Yes.
So pretty experienced in this realm.
Yeah, and I'm usually with my partner, so I couple travel. So this was definitely new to me.
Don't worry, I'm still jealous because I go alone because I have to. I go alone so I'm taking any partner applications. I think I said this a few episodes ago too. I was still taking applications a few episodes too.
Oh, man.
So I'm still, applications are still open. Rolling applications.
Rolling applications. It's because they have to get vetted through me. So
make them good.
Yeah.
Dance in the video or something. Send in a highlight reel of why you want to be my travel partner.
Exactly. For sure. All right, we could jump into the first step, which is setting your mindset.
Your mindset and your expectations.
Ooh,
and all the feels. Because first and foremost, I think for anything in life, it's about what goes on in here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So if you are contemplating a solo trip, it's literally because you want to go or a part of you wants to go.
Yeah.
And that's literally all the push that you need to get started. Because from there, you can either find intrinsic motivation, meaning motivation that comes from within, or you can call on others for help and encouragement. But we do want to remind you, no one is forcing you to go on a solo
There's
trip.
no pressure. Just because you see 10 of your friends are doing it, it does not mean that you need to do it.
It's absolutely not. You don't have to, get hurt and be a victim about it. I think there's another side of the spectrum in that sense where people feel like, well, everyone's solo traveling these days. Like, does that mean I have to do it too? No one is making you walk off a plank to go travel on your own. I know people, not personally, but people that have said like, no, I never travel solo and I don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine. You don't have to. But a lot of people are curious as to like what it feels like and what it to experience that,
Yeah, which is great because I would say after my solo trip, I realized solo traveling is not for me, right? But it's good to experience it once in your lifetime to see if it is for you or not.
Yes.
Yeah. But I didn't feel forced that I had to go and do it.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
But another thing also is you don't have to like, you've never swam before and now you're just going to jump into the ocean. You don't have to do that either. Like where there's whales and jellyfish, you don't have to do that. You can literally like, this is what I tell people, start by taking yourself out to lunch.
Yeah.
Or like
by
start
yourself.
Yeah, by yourself. Or start by like driving down to the coast one day and hanging out all day by yourself. Or start on like a one night staycation. Yeah. Wherever you are, or a weekend, you know, going to a new city. It doesn't have to be, let me take a 3-month trip by myself to a country where English is the 4th most spoken language. It don't have to be like that.
Yeah. That's a great tip. And I think you said that early on in our episodes. And that made me kind of realize like, oh, I could do this solo trip because, you know, I run by myself. I used to hike by myself. And I frequently like eat lunch or go to a cafe by myself, drive long distance for work by myself. And I'm like, oh, if I could do that all by myself, maybe 100%. I could take that next step. So...
And I feel like as we were coming into adulthood, like decades ago at this point, like you have to spend time by yourself anyway, right? Yeah. I actually feel like I used to feel like I always needed to be around people. I was even like this in college when we would hang out. So there were some times where I felt like I always needed to be with people. In high school, I definitely felt that way. Yeah. And then it's crazy because I feel like I did a complete 180 as I got into my adulthood. Exactly. You know, things just changed very quickly. But start small when it comes to solo traveling. Don't let anyone tell you that taking a one-night staycation or going on a long weekend to a different city across the country is not a solo trip. Don't let anyone tell you that.
If they do tell you that, come to us and we will tell you it's okay. That's a solo
Big
trip.
sisters.
All right.
Big sisters right here. We got you.
Ate and Jeje.
Jeje is that how you say? Yeah. Oh, I love that. In Canto.
In Cantonese and Tagalog.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Next step. Choosing the location.
Yeah, like where to go. We answered this. So I recently did a panel hosted by Wonderful at the LA Travel and Adventure Show. Travel and Adventure Show, they're held all around the country. I was lucky enough to moderate a panel on solo travel at the Los Angeles location. Trizzy was there getting all the content, being basically the press, the media, you know. And this question came up and it was a great question because I feel like I've been to so many places and come out on the good side of things. And I'm like, every place is a great place, but realistically, come on, I had to start from somewhere too. Yeah. Right? So what are some of your favorites if you were to advise people?
If I were to advise people,
and reasons why.
For sure, Thailand, just because everybody's so sweet there, so nice.
It's super affordable.
Yeah.
Super affordable.
Exactly. And there's tons to see. And it's a expat. If you go to Chiang Mai specifically, that's like a large expat community. I think that would be a place where I would retire as well. Yep. Japan, I would say definitely is a great first solo trip because it's clean, it's safe, people are great and nice. They do speak English. Honestly, it's a warm community there once you land. Yeah. So Singapore as well. Same reasons as Japan. Probably not as nice of people in Japan. Really? But Singapore is like very like, especially if you're in like the downtown area, you're just gonna come across people who are just, you know, in it to get to work and then back home, handle their business there and stuff like that. Yeah. But still a great place to solo travel. Yeah. And I think that's all I've encountered. Vietnam as well. Oh my gosh, the cafes there. You guys are going to love the coffee culture. Ooh. Food is amazing there. They do speak English. It's big on tourism as well. On tourism, and I think anywhere from Ho Chi Minh even up to Da Nang, you won't have a problem with like language barrier.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's really good. I haven't been to Vietnam yet either, so One day I'll get there.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you're gonna stay there because of all the coffee.
Oh, I bet. You know, fun fact, Vietnam is the largest exporter of coffee in the world as far as countries go.
There you go.
Yep. Brazil is second. Colombia is third. This is all my coffee plantation visits in other country. This is what has filled me with all this
your
knowledge.
Guru right here.
I would say other places to add to that. Trizzy hasn't been here yet, but Bali in Indonesia, absolutely. They're very, very well built for tourism, and everybody speaks English.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding when I say everybody.
Yeah.
So, you know, they speak their local language too. As far as Central and South America, I would say Guatemala is very friendly. Because it's inexpensive. It is a great place to take Spanish classes. You can get some for as, you know, fairly priced as $8 an hour.
Wow.
I do think you should learn a little bit of Spanish before you go, but it's pretty easy. There's lots to do. The terrain is great. Lots of hiking, lots of hostels around, lots of ways to like meet different people. As far as moving into South America, it's tricky because I did South America episode number 3, 1 year backpacking South America. I did this completely alone, and it was like one of my bigger trips. And I had traveled solo quite a bit before that already, but this was a year. Wow. So the first few months were, you know, like adjusting. I started off in Argentina. I do think Argentina and Chile are great for traveling on your own. I did it by myself. English isn't as widely spoken as you think. So you should learn a little bit of Spanish. However, it's more affordable than the US. Yeah. And there's lots to do. Lots of buses availability, lots of plane availability. Lots of terrain. There's beach, surfing, wine country, Patagonia, like deserts, hiking, trekking, forests, and there's cities as well. And I didn't feel as concerned for my safety traveling those two countries as I might elsewhere, right? Yeah. And I don't know that I would put Colombia on this list. Colombia is one of my favorite countries on the planet. Yeah. But when I was there in 2016, there was a higher rate of crime that people would experience, more so than Argentina or Chile. Oh. And the thing is, like, I speak decent Spanish. Yeah. So for me, it's a little different.
And you could get by with your physical looks.
Yeah. My friends who would have, like, bright blue eyes, blonde hair, it's different. But for me, I have, like, dark skin, dark features, dark hair. Yeah. So people would have to do a double take. So I can kind of pass, like, I'm, like, Latina passing, you know? Yeah. Colombia I'd recommend, but just to caution you, definitely learn some language. Yeah. You know, don't act like a tourist. Colombia's tough. I want to recommend it, and I think you should do hard things in life. But I will say, going back to Central America, definitely Costa Rica. I think it's great. There's a lot of English spoken in Costa Rica. They're very friendly towards U.S. expats and retirees. Okay. But that is the one complaint that other cultures have about visiting there. They say there's too many Americans, which I think is quite prejudiced, but it's sad. A lot of people have been saying why would you say that to an American? Like, isn't that something you just keep to yourself? Yeah. Like, literally, German people come up to me, they'll be like, there's so many Americans here. I'm like, I didn't bring them here. I am here for a birthday celebration. Right. But Costa Rica is very, very well built for tourism. That's why I would recommend it as well. Yeah. And then we were also thinking, neither of us have been, but the Balkans. Yeah.
We've heard great experiences through friends, people in the travel community as well. They did mention things are affordable. Yes. So your money will stretch there.
And definitely more untouched than a lot of other touristy places. Not to say they don't have the infrastructure to, you know, they obviously have hotels, great restaurants, those types of things. But maybe not as overcrowded as, say, maybe a place like Thailand would be. Yeah. At some points, or in like high season. So, but plenty of places to choose from if you want to take a first international solo trip. Yeah. Exactly. Are there any cities in like maybe the US or North America that would recommend?
Oh, yeah. I mean, New York, of course.
Yeah. So much to do, right?
Exactly. Seattle is great too. I'm from there and I could vouch for it. Going back, I always feel like there's always something new as far as like public transportation, as far as food, job opportunities as well. If you even want to freelance or find something remote. Maybe even just like Chicago too, just like the bigger cities.
Bigger cities, yeah. I would say, I mean, I would say Southern California, besides the lack of public transportation here. But I would say like the sunshine, the people make it friendly. Like West Coast kind of has a different demeanor than the East Coast sometimes. Places probably like Denver and Austin too. Yeah. Minus, again, lack of public transportation, but friendliness of people, weather, outdoor activities, opportunities to meet others if that's what you want to do. Just a variety of activities, sports, entertainment, etc.
And don't limit to just what we talked about. There's tons of other places.
Tons of others. These are just some from our experiences and from experiences that friends have gone through. Friends and family have gone through also. So we have some prep to get ready to go. And this is more like, physical prep, gear prep. Versus like a mental prep. We could honestly talk about this for hours, but we'll go through some of our key points.
For sure.
One of my biggest things is when you're talking about prep, you're usually like, oh, packing. Please only pack what you can carry. And literally do not expect anyone to carry anything for you ever. That is my biggest thing, because then you can just overpack and 99.9% of the time, someone isn't going to help you and you're going to be carrying your stuff on your own.
Yes. And I learned that on my London trip because I wasn't expecting people to help me. Like I knew that I had to like fend for myself. But I felt like I carried way too much.
Way too much,
brought
probably.
Stuff that I was just like, I could have just left it at home.
Did you use everything?
I actually did use everything.
Okay, everything? Okay.
Yeah, but it was like forcefully. It was like, okay, I haven't worn this black shirt. Let me just wear it so I can say I just wore it.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But all my recovery tools, I use that.
Okay.
I just need that.
Okay. All right. I actually saw this in a TikTok video and I cannot remember the creator's name. So if anyone remembers her name, please tag her in any of the comments. She said short nails. Which is really smart because she said if you're carrying things like we were talking about, but if you're zipping things up and tying things together, you can't ask someone else to do that.
Okay.
I was like, that's super smart. If you need to like zip something up from the back or button something or tie a knot, you can't do that with long nails. I was like, that is actually really brilliant.
Yes.
Or bring nail clippers.
Send tentative plans to at least one person you trust. I sent it to, like you said in previous episodes, different groups of friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and my sister, my partner.
Yeah.
You, I sent it to, and then another set of friends.
Yep, that's exactly what I do. I used to call it like, oh, my A team, my B team. It's not like that. It's more like different circles. Yeah. Right? Like a family member, a close friend, a podcast co-host. Not that she's not a close friend, but she falls in both categories. Yes. Yeah. And in different locations too, why not? If they're in different time zones, they might know something different. But that's just the over precaution we take, but better safe than sorry for any of that. So I usually send to a few people before. And it's like itineraries change. People understand that. But at least if they get an idea of where you are, where you're going, then I think everyone should have one trusted person in their life that they can send that kind of information to. So that is one of our biggest tips.
Exactly. And you don't have to send it like how we send it to multiple people. It's like at least one person is key.
100%. One thing I do is spread my money across multiple accounts. Whether that's credit, debit, I do that. I alert my banks that I'm going on holiday so cards don't freeze. One of my biggest things, I keep telling this story in the Philippines, one girl, and I was so happy to help her out. Luckily, because I don't know, I was feeling really generous at the time, but she only brought one debit card and one credit card. She was traveling for 3 weeks and they froze her debit card.
Oh no.
And I think she lost her credit card. So she had nothing. So I had to give her $100 because she needed something to hold her over. Yeah. And her dad in Germany was going to PayPal me back. Okay. And this is something else too. Like she was a complete stranger, but we'd been having fun like hanging out with other people. Yeah. So I felt like I trusted her. So also one thing, don't lend out money unless you know you can afford to lose it, right? So if I never saw the $100, and this is a rule in life, if I never saw the $100 again, I'd be okay. I wouldn't go broke or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I handed her the $100 in hopes that she would, and she immediately, like within a few hours, her dad did pay me.
Oh, okay.
But she was a stranger. You never know what can happen.
Exactly.
And luckily, it was only $100. But some people can't afford to give out $100.
Yeah.
But I was just feeling real ballsy and baller
Mm-hmm.
at that time. Ballsy and baller.
Ballsy and baller.
But that's also why, because I remember in my head thinking, like, why didn't she bring more than one debit card? Or like, why didn't she pull out any cash? Or like, why didn't she bring another credit?
Yeah.
I was thinking all these things, like coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah, it's because Ticket to Anywhere didn't exist back in the day.
I know.
So. That's just funny.
No, but I think that's in life. Like, you don't lend anyone money unless you expect to lose it.
Yeah.
Like, just don't expect that it'll be paid back.
Right.
At that point, it's a gift.
Yeah.
Right.
Good
That's
heart.
a big thing.
Good
Yeah.
heart.
I always bring, this is really random, but I always bring 2 different sized locks as well. Like, if you ever need to lock your backpack up or hook it to a chair or a table if you're sitting in a cafe, or if you're in a hotel or a hostel, you need to lock your locker, lock anything, whatever you need to chain it to. I usually bring like a thicker lock and a smaller lock.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Do
So
hostels normally, when they give you lockers,
No.
do they give you locks?
I feel like most of the time they actually don't give you a lock. That's why I'm so conditioned to just bringing locks with me. Yeah, now I have like 8 different locks. I have so many locks.
Slang them.
Maybe we'll do a lock giveaway. Let me know if y'all need a lock. Yeah.
Love it.
And then one of the last things is also still mindset thing.
Yeah.
The tip is, if your gut tells you something is wrong or off, listen to it. Because nothing is more intuitive than your intuition.
Yeah. This one is really, really important to talk about. Safety.
Yeah.
All right. So what I did on this trip was, although I was not going with my partner, the hotels that I booked it as 2 people. Just so
this is smart. I just learned about this like a few minutes ago.
You never know what goes on in like the hotel side. Like you could trust. Sometimes you could trust them, but there's always that one bad rotten apple that could turn the whole trip around. But that's what I did, and sometimes if the price isn't too much of a difference, you could even book 2 beds.
Yeah.
Right. And even with 2 beds, you could use it as what we talked about before we hit record, was that one of the bed could be your dirty bed, right? You could, the clothes that you don't change out of because you're waiting for the next tour to happen, you could lay there.
But this is a trend that's going on around TikTok right now. Like, women that they have a hotel room with 2 beds and they're using one as their eating bed where all the crumbs can fall, etc. And then the one is their sleeping bed. So a dirty bed and a clean bed. Yeah. I love that trend because I relate.
Deadbolt and lock the room doors if you're staying at a hotel. Like, I did that immediately after every time I went back into the hotel. And at night, I put my luggage against the door. So just in case if somebody does try and open it, I'll hear my luggage come out first, or they'll hear it and they'll startle them to leave or something like that.
You know what I do? I'm kind of crazy. I put, if it's like a metal water bottle with like a carabiner, I'll hang it on the door handle if it's curved. Nice. So that if someone turns the door handle, it'll drop and make a loud sound.
Oh, I like that.
That sounds kind of paranoid, but I mean,
you never
if it's
know.
there and the handle's good, obviously it won't stay as well if it's a straight handle, but if it's a curved handle, has a ridge. Yeah. Also, I always think, this is kind of crazy, but I always think people are reaching behind the door to see if there is something there that makes a loud noise. So they'll slowly push it away. That's why the water bottle thing, I like that more, because I'll wake up.
It's like a big cling, cling,
cling. And I mean, I guess they could reach the door handle and see if there's anything on the door.
Not if there's a deadbolt.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But also I've read this complaint too, is make sure if there's a fire in your room, you're able to get out quickly too. Because I've seen some people push tables and chairs up against it. I'm like, but
right.
then if there's a fire in your room, in the hotel, wherever you need to get out, now they have to remove all the tables and chairs.
Yeah. Do it until you feel safe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For sure. And one thing that I did, and I always do this even with or without my partner, is when we leave the room, we'll leave the TV on. We'll turn up the volume, not too crazy loud to make it like super obvious, but loud enough. There's windows with people across from us. We'll close the curtains and stuff like that. So
make it look like people are home.
Exactly. Yeah. But then, you know, there's some high-end resorts, the trendy ones. They have like those automatic shut-off things. Yeah. So sometimes you can't get away with it.
Do they do that for the TV also?
Yeah, with the TV.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I mean, conserve energy.
Exactly.
I mean, as conserve as much as you can, but also protect yourself.
Yeah. If you're solo, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Protect your gear, protect your belongings. And,
100%. You're the person is the most important thing. Yeah. So, this is one I learned, and I do it, but you got to be, you know, sensitive about who you give it to. If like the native language where you're going isn't your own, take a business card of where you're staying or take a photo of the business card. Take a photo and take a physical one, because what if your phone dies, right? And you don't have a portable charger with you. But this is helpful if you can like show taxi drivers, or if you can't pronounce the name, you can't read the name, you don't know the address, etc. Also, try to get to know the reception a little bit, because if you're friendly with them, I mean, you should always be nice and friendly to everyone. But if you get their names, you know, they in turn could like look out for you.
Exactly.
So
they'll be like, okay, Leah just left, so let me make sure that she does come back, and blah, blah, blah.
I wonder if people are trained to like look out for that.
Maybe, because I do see people just like looking at me, and I'm like, what you looking at?
Yeah, I wonder. So, you know, there's certain industries where they're like trained to look out for things. Yeah. So I wonder if I mean, maybe not the massive hotels, like too many people. Oh
yeah, like big resorts.
But maybe like a smaller mom and pop place where they know everyone that's staying there.
Exactly.
That'd be nice. I don't know. Anyone who works in the hospitality industry, let us know if that's a thing.
I love that. I love the business card idea.
Yeah, it's cool. And you can use it for multiple, like if you are on a big trip, you don't remember the place you stayed and you found it one day, you're like, oh, that's where I stayed in Vietnam. You know?
All right, now this is the one that I had trouble in.
A pain point.
Shooting content, because I usually have my partner with me shooting content, and you know, if I want like a solo photo of me, she'll be the one taking it of me. But this trip in London, I started off just a mess and a wreck. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to take this video of me walking down the street, but I need maps pulled up so I don't get lost. So shooting content was a struggle for me. But I learned as the trip went on. I got more comfortable with setting my tripod up, taking my time. So yeah, what do you do?
I'm a little weird, and I like memorize the directions before I go, but I know that's not realistic. That's not the thing, right? So we always recommend, like, say you don't have Wi-Fi, either you don't have data, like download either maps.me or Google Maps offline, so you can always find your way. Yeah. And one thing that we both thought was smart was building time in to get content. Yeah. So say you wanted to take yourself walking through the train station, but you don't know where you're going. So you'd have to double back and be like, oh, wait, now that so you take the content and then double back and be like, okay, now I have to find out where I'm actually going. Yeah. That'll add like 5 to 10 minutes onto your commute wherever you're going. Exactly. So one thing is like, and I did this with like Janine in Memphis when we went to TravelCon last year. We built in 2 hours one morning before we even like started getting ready to go out for the day, just to film TikToks and Reels. Yeah. And it was so great because I felt like we were just like getting, boom, getting things done.
Have a shot list too. That kind of goes with
shot list is super helpful. One thing I learned from you is like just capture kind of everything, because you never know what kind of things you need to get.
The B-rolls are the most important.
B-roll. And one thing we've both learned from like Christine Lazada, you know, one of our muses, drone queen. Yes. But she has like her Insta360 or her GoPro and her camera, both of them going on at once. And we know That's also not realistic for some people because we're curious. We're like, how do you get so much content from like both vertical and horizontal angles?
And that brings me to the Insta360 X3 is what I have. And that is amazing for capturing content as you're walking because you don't see like the selfie stick. It's invisible as you're walking. So you could have your phone as your map in one hand and then the other one is just like you're roaming and roaming, so you kind of get the perspective of you getting lost in the city.
That's super cool.
And along with that selfie stick, I only have a 3 feet one, so it has a tripod on it as well, so I use that most of the time because
she's embarrassed of the 6 foot one. If you listen to her a few episodes back, she's embarrassed of the 6 foot tripod.
I am, but you know, eventually I'll probably gonna hop on that. That'd be so sad. But yeah, the tripod Insta360 X3 is what I've been using, or what I used a lot in London. And my camera that we're shooting with right now, my Sony A7 III, I had a mini like table tripod for it. So I would set that on the ground and take photos of me and take videos of me walking from frame to frame or one end to the other frame. So
I was going to ask, did you see a lot of creators when you were out?
I didn't.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of creators. I saw people taking, you know, couple videos of themselves or other couples.
Oh, they could have been.
They could be creators, but no solo people.
Huh. Yeah. That's interesting. You were some big cities too.
Yeah. I was expecting to see it.
Yeah.
But no.
Okay.
Also, kind of like what Leah said about setting time, you could even set a separate day for you to just capture your content. So it could be half a day. You don't have to spend the full day.
We were chatting about this off of our last episode, you know, Cape Town, South Africa. Bokop, the really, you know, famous neighborhood in Cape Town. I did a tour and cooking class there, but I had an engagement right after that tour and cooking class. So I literally was only able to spend 2 hours max in Bokop, but it's so beautiful. Yeah. And I couldn't get any content because all I was getting content was of the cooking class. That was it. So I made time a week later to go back for another hour and just purely get photos and videos and walk around on my own instead of the tour agenda. Yeah. So I built in time for that, you know.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's what we did in Egypt too. Like the pyramids. We went to the pyramids twice. Yeah. One with our tour guide photographer. Yeah. And then a few days or like towards the end of it, we were like, let's just go back because we know we could tour the grounds by ourselves. Yes. So we don't need a tour guide.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I know we realize not everyone has time for that, but I think you could build time in for a place you really wanted to go. Like I said, Bokop, I only spent an hour there on my second time, but I really wanted to get, you know, photos, really wanted to capture some content in such a meaningful neighborhood. So, yeah.
And I know sometimes, because we're going to go into like the mentality of you shooting solo by yourself. At first, I was kind of embarrassed by it and I was shy. I didn't want to do it. But I think this one time I just put my tripod and then I went for it. And then I was like, ain't nobody care. Everybody's just walking past my tripod like it's nothing. Yeah. They're not looking at me. If they look at me, they're not going to remember me. So yeah. Don't give a bleep about what people think or how they view you when you're shooting content on your own.
That's a big thing that we've noticed. Even experienced content creators, even someone like I'm alone all the time. I shoot my content alone all the time. And she was like, how do you do it? I'm like, because I don't, like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm taking applications, but I'm pretty used to it and I don't really care what other people think. Sometimes I still do though. That's the hard thing. Oh, okay. Like you could be the most experienced person on the planet and you're still like a little nervous. But to say that like Trizzy's been practicing for so long, just even speaking from the camera. Yeah. It takes consistency and practice. It doesn't happen overnight. Yeah. So we understand people have those concerns of like, oh, I'm so nervous to do it, but you have to keep doing it in order to minimize that what you perceive as embarrassment, right? It may not ever go away, but at least you can let it not bother you that much.
Exactly. And to go back to Insta360, it's such a small camera, and if you are shy and you want to just take like a small baby step, you could use that camera, set it without the tripod
Mm-hmm.
in front of you while eating.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like good practice as well.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like a foodie, food bloggers.
Also makes good B-roll.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot of B-roll of me eating.
Yes. The Insta360, to go back, you can make it vertical or horizontal. So it's perfect for...
Damn, do we got a code? Do we got a Trizzy 20?
Do we?
Do we got...
I would have a lot of Insta360 footage of me eating, but I got pickpocketed in London for it. So, went. I got a new one, though. It's okay. Yeah, I had it pickpocketed on my first full day in London, which was my second full day in the UK, because the first one I spent in Bath. So, I was kind of sad that I don't have the footage of me on the train going to Bath. But that goes along with safety, too. Like, having your bags really close to you. And what basically happened was I had my fanny pack usually in the front, but for 3 seconds I had it in the back for, I don't know, mindless reasons. And then I, came back to reality and was like, oh my gosh, why is it in the back?
Mm-hmm.
So I turned it around, and as I turned it around, my fanny pack was open. They took my Peak Design camera strap, which luckily was not attached to my big camera, because I would have...
Would you have felt it if... like it was attached?
You know what? The camera was heavy, so maybe I would have felt it. But the Insta360 is light and small, so they like took that in my camera strap. So yeah,
it's scary.
So not even for 3 seconds. Do not turn away from your bags anywhere you go. Yeah.
It's kind of... It's really sad. I mean, to be honest, this can happen to anyone, anywhere. Like, it wasn't like she was being targeted. And I completely understand your, like, concern about, like, keep your eyes on your bag. Yeah. Because it's behind you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I do weird stuff, too. Like, I'll hook my backpack. If I'm sitting somewhere or sleeping somewhere, I hook my backpacks between my ankles. For sure. Like, those straps. So, if they're going to pull my backpack away, they're going to pull me away, too. And I'm not that light, so so they're gonna be dragging my body, my dead weight. Oh, what a bummer.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just, to pass on my experience would hopefully help other people. So, and I'm just relying on bad karma right now for whoever did that.
Yeah. She's watching you.
Yeah. On a lighter note.
Yeah. Well, this section we added in because sometimes I get questions on, like, how do you meet new people? I want to make friends while I'm traveling, and everyone's different. Some people don't want to meet new people while they're traveling. That's fine. Some people really do, but they have no idea how to get started. Some people only want to do it in certain settings, that type of thing. So meeting people and making friends, I have a great presentation on this as well. I will link it in the show notes, but I've talked about this quite a few times before, so I can give you kind of like the overview. Top places to meet people, make new friends, make new acquaintances. Definitely hostels, hotel bars where everyone is invited to go in. Free walking tours are great, and they're free. Yeah. I can't tell you how many free walking tours I went on, and people are like, oh, like, we kind of look like the same age range. It's like, oh, where are you staying? Like, do you want to go out for dinner tonight? Or even after the tour, it's like, do you want to should we grab lunch after this? Little new groups of friends will form. Join activities you like to do in that area, whether it's like, say you like jujitsu, or you like painting, or you like want to take a cooking class. Do things you like to do, and guarantee you'll meet those like-minded people, right? Coffee shops, I always recommend coffee shops. There's great community in coffee shops. Concerts, poetry nights, those types of things. And these can all be applied to like real life back at home as well. Not necessarily singled out to when you're traveling abroad or alone. Find people with common interests, book clubs, etc. Join online communities beforehand. I'm still part of quite a few, especially the places I lived in. Say you're going backpacking South America, backpacking Central America. I literally search the Facebook bar and put backpacking Central America, and I joined those groups. And now you can get advice from people. You can find people to travel with if you want. Find people who are going to the same places as you are. And my last big tip is ask friends and family, or put a call out on your own social media. Hey, does anyone know anyone in Ho Chi Minh? Right? Or does anyone know anyone flying to Singapore? Or does anyone know anyone going to Coachella? right? Ask friends and family, or think of people you know, or like I said, put out a call on your own social media. I guarantee someone will know someone or know someone, or can give you even great advice on how to meet people if they don't know someone themselves.
Exactly.
So
Ooh,
use your
that.
use your resources, right?
Love
That's
those.
what it is. Yeah.
Amazing. Love all of this. Look at me giving tips on solo travel.
I know. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I'm happy. I mean, I'm happy I got a friend who's just like, to me, is a solo traveler expert. So I got a lot of.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Am I an expert?
To me, yeah.
Oh,
she's the
that's all I
OG
need.
for me.
Yeah, I mean, you confirmed at the beginning that, like, you know, going into a group of 25 people you don't know, that's still solo travel. You don't know a soul.
Exactly.
So you don't really have a safety net to fall back on.
Definitely.
But we really hope this episode will help you or inspire you to take your first solo travel trip, especially as the summer months are approaching. What a great time. Everyone's in a good mood, you know, summer. So whether it's near, far, whether it's in your state, out of state, or out of the country, we really hope that you can take these tips and, you know, take your first solo travel trip.
No, safe travels, everybody. Yeah. Thanks for watching and listening. There are some items in this episode we may get a small commission from if you buy through our direct links. It helps us to keep creating fun and super helpful travel content for you.
We wouldn't be anywhere without the support you've given us, and for that, we're always appreciative. To support the podcast even further with just a $2 donation, head to buymeacoffee.com/ticket to anywhere.
To be the first to get our episodes, subscribe to Ticket to Anywhere on YouTube.
Share this episode with a friend if you found it helpful.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Listen to Ticket to Anywhere wherever you get your podcasts.